morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at the very first ever Appletun card. Yep, it's making its way into the Pokemon trading card game, and it's looking pretty gosh darn nice on its way in. Now, I do want to give a quick shout out here to Appletun. I like Appletun. It's a very cool designed Pokemon. Not a big fan of either of the evolutions, but I do like Appletun. First of all, the art is amazing, and the art in VMAX Rising, to be fair, as a whole, is phenomenal. Secondly, it's only got 40 HP. 40 HP is terrible. That's extremely low. Lots of stuff are going to KO it. Thirdly, it's got a really nice attack for 1 grass, 1 colorless energy that does 10 damage, and you flip a coin until you get tails, and then you do 30 more damage for each heads. I'm not saying that this is a great attack around which you should build a deck. I am saying that as an emergency, I am going to lose a game unless I get 6 heads in a row now. It's kind of good. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, not every Pokemon's got an attack like this. Not every Pokemon has got an emergency, if I flip 6 heads attack. It's nice to have one in your deck for, well, emergencies. But let's move on to Appletun now. What do we see? 90 HP, pretty gosh darn low, especially for a stage 1. Retreat cost of 3 is just too low to use stuff like buff padding, which is kind of annoying. Weakness to fire isn't particularly good because welded X are flat out phenomenal right now. So that's all a bad start. You are a grass Pokemon. One of the best things about it is healing with stuff like Life Forest Prism Star and Shaman, but you know, the whole you've got 90 HP. And you are hitting weakness on some things, but there's not really that much great stuff around at the moment. Maybe if my boy Regirock ever becomes as big and as great and as awesome as I'm hoping he can be, cool. Outside of that, fingers crossed. But really, we're here for the attacks. We're actually not here for the attacks. We're here for the ability. Delicious Aroma. Our translations, if I didn't say, do come from the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net. Cerebi's an awesome website. Joe's an awesome person. Let's all get excited. What does it do? Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. This ability is very literally Pokemon Catcher as an ability. It's literally it. It is exactly the same as having a Pokemon Catcher. Now, a quick little appendix from me here. I'm coming to you from the future. I have unfortunately found out since recording the video that the Gusting only allows you to gust a basic Pokemon into the active. Shout out to the lovely David Hockman for making the correction. Pretty much everything I'm going to say completely stands up, completely stands true. I stand by the analysis. We are in an extremely basic heavy format at the moment. The best decks really at the moment are Pokemon V like Zacian or Morpeko, along with tag team Pokemon like Pikachu and Zekrom and Mewtwo and Mew. I did do a video about the format at the moment and what's really good in Sword and Shield. I'll pop a link in the description. But it is an extremely basic heavy format. So just a quick heads up, it only allows you to gust a basic Pokemon into the active, but the vast majority of the time that's not going to matter. Here's the thing though. In Sword and Shield, Pokemon Catcher got reprinted. And in Japan, it's seeing quite a lot of play. And the way we understand this, because bearing in mind, right, pre-rotation, it wasn't seeing play. Now it's come back and it is. And it's very simple. Pre-rotation, we had Guzma. No one cared about Pokemon Catcher because we had Guzma. And then the rotation happened and we lost Guzma and we lost Pokemon Catcher and we were left with Custom Catcher, gust anything but you've got to play 2 at the same time, and Great Catcher, discard 2 cards from your hand and gust only an EX or a GX. Now Fire decks have had 9 tails, discard 2 fire energy from your hand, gust anything, that's quite nice, but regular decks have been hurting for good gusting. And we've been told good gusting is on the way, but it's not here yet. So you know what? This could work. That's why Pokemon Catcher is seeing play, and if people are willing to play Pokemon Catcher, Why would they not also be willing to play a stage 1 Pokemon that gives you an every turn Pokemon catcher? That seems sensible. I mean, remember, it's a stage 1, so Ditto Prism Star can evolve into it. So that's something to consider. Just literally, if you're playing Ditto Prism Star, playing it as a 1-card tech. And then you've got your Gusting. Now, the thing is, this is not a new ability. We've seen this ability before. It's on Ludicolo. And I am not ashamed to say that there was a moment in time where I ordered 4 Ludicolo off of the internet. Yeah. And it's literally the exact same ability. Here's the thing. Number 1, Ludicolo was a stage 2. Number 2, Ludicolo came around at a time when we had good Gusting options. So nobody cared. Now, for anyone that's wondering, I played it with Miltank. The idea was that Miltank hit 80 damage if you had a stage 2 on the bench. So I could just gust around and keep hitting 80 damage for 1 energy on a basic. I never ended up taking a card to a tournament. Let's say my testing did not go brilliantly. Wasn't perfect. Hey-ho. But this is a very, very different situation to back when we had Ludicolo. Because we don't have great Gusting options. And it's a stage 1. And stage 1 is so much different to stage 2. It makes a phenomenal, phenomenal difference. I honestly think we're going to see this seeing a lot of play. Now, Fire decks, generally, if they're willing to play abilities, a lot of them at the moment are playing Ninetales. And that's pretty awkward. This isn't. Now, the counter-argument here is this is unreliable. It's on a coin flip. And like everything on a coin flip, if you always hit heads, it's phenomenal. If you never flip heads, you've wasted space in your deck and you've wasted space on your bench. But Gusting has always been one of the most powerful effects in the game. Back in the base set era, we had Gust of Wind. And Gust of Wind was a staple in every deck. It was literally just an item that let you do Gusting as you liked. It was phenomenal. When Gust of Wind went away, we got Double Gust. Yep. Double Gust saw a lot of play. And then, I mean, you can just take it all the way through the game. You could look at Luxray GL Level X, which was literally, in Level X, you could only Level X in the active. And yet people would literally, I mean, somebody literally won the World Championships playing a 1-1 Luxray line in a Beedrill deck. That's how good it was. And in the format we're in at the moment, without particularly good Gusting options, I love this. I genuinely love this. I intend putting this into some of my decks. And it might end up like Ludicolo. I might end up just taking it right back out again because it proves that, in fact, it's not particularly good. But I'm sorry, I don't see how in a world where people are more than happy to play Pokemon Catcher, why an ability that is a once-per-turn Pokemon Catcher wouldn't see play. And you can always play around with the odds here. Sure, having 1 Appletun on the bench gives you a 50% chance of hitting heads, but having 2 on the bench gives you a 75% chance of hitting heads. And having 3 on the bench gives you an 87.5% chance of hitting heads. Well, that's an awful lot different now, isn't it? Now, you probably don't want to put 3 of these on your bench. That's taking up 3 of your 5 bench spaces. Just an example, ladies and gentlemen. Just an example. Now, there is an ability here, but I don't think we need to spend a huge amount of time talking about it. It's not terribly exciting. Solar Beam, 1 grass, 1 colorless energy, 70 damage. Yeah. I mean, look, we got the Rillaboom in Sword and Shield that lets you search your deck for 2 grass energy and then attach them to one of your Pokemon. So, yay. But honestly, I still don't even see that being good with this. Because there are better places to put your energy. Now, to be fair, Rillaboom is 140 for 4 energy, so 70 for 2 energy is in line. But, no. You're not even getting all the evolving basics. I mean, if you come across a Q-Font, for instance, from Sword and Shield, you're 30 damage away. It's fine. It's not terrible. it's not particularly good. Generally speaking, this is a Pokemon that sits on the bench and uses the ability. And that's okay. That's a good role for it. I mean, Pidgeotto's never attacked. And yet that's part of one of the best decks in the format right now, possibly multiple of them. Zebstrika doesn't attack, and yet that sees a huge amount of play. Ninetales doesn't attack, and that's pretty gosh darn good. I was speaking to someone the other day, and they put it really nicely. The two things that are universally great in the Pokemon trading card game are Draw Power and Gusting. Well, if you think about that, then you need a good way to do both. This is good Gusting. I'm giving it 4 Wassies, and I really want to see which way this goes. I could honestly see this being a 2-2 line in like 50% of decks, and I could see it seeing almost no play whatsoever. But I do think it is one of the best Gusting options we've got. Now, the other thing is we have been promised a good Gusting option that is expected to be in almost all decks in the very near future. So, in the next set in Japan, after VMAX Rising. So maybe at that point this becomes pointless. I still love it. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are still pretty gosh darned awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.